The giant king who made Moses fear. A giant king stood over 10 feet tall, with an iron bed so massive it became legendary. When Moses saw him, even God's chosen warrior trembled. This wasn't just a man. This was something that survived from before the flood. His name was Og of Bashan, and he ruled the last kingdom of giants after the Nephilim were supposedly wiped out. Deuteronomy 3:11 describes his bed with chilling precision. 13 feet long, made of iron. This was rare advanced metallurgy in an age when most still used bronze. While Israel carried bronze weapons, this giant king commanded iron technology. His fortress cities had walls so massive they seemed impossible to breach. Israel's spies once described giants this way in Numbers 13:33. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Og wasn't alone when the flood came. He was the last survivor of a race of giants called the Rephaim, descendants of the original Nephilim, the offspring of fallen angels and human women. They carried pre-flood knowledge that made them nearly invincible. Og commanded armies that had fought for centuries. He possessed warfare tactics and metallurgy that gave him godlike power. His soldiers wore armor no Israelite weapon could pierce. His chariots used engineering principles lost to time. When Israel finally faced him in battle, they weren't just fighting a man. They were fighting living proof the old world hadn't completely died. Moses himself was terrified. Deuteronomy 3:2 records God having to reassure him. Do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him into your hands. God himself had to intervene, because human strength alone couldn't defeat what Og represented. The Battle of Edrei became legendary not because Israel won, but because they defeated something that shouldn't have been possible to kill. When Og finally fell, Israel captured 60 fortified cities, each one built with technology beyond their understanding. Massive stones fitted together with precision that defied explanation. Walls that reached toward the sky like ancient skyscrapers. Archaeological evidence supports the biblical account. Massive dolmens in the Golan Heights. Stone structures requiring superhuman strength to construct. Beds carved from rock large enough for beings twice normal human size. But here's the terrifying question the Bible leaves unanswered. If Og survived the flood, what other giants did too? Paul says giants didn't all drown in Noah's flood. Some survived, and their technology came from fallen angels who taught forbidden knowledge before the waters rose. The old world didn't end. It just went underground. Og of Bashan wasn't mythology. He was documented history that mainstream scholars often dismiss. A giant king over 10 feet tall with iron technology in the late Bronze Age, fortress cities built with superhuman engineering, and a bloodline that traced back to the Nephilim themselves. When Moses needed divine intervention to defeat him, it proved something terrifying. The pre-flood world survived, and its remnants ruled kingdoms until God himself stepped in to end them.